hello, I'm Debs, this is Debs Made This, and I have my October and November makes to share. So, get a cup of tea and get a comfy seat and let me show you what I've done. October was a month when I made 2 Viki Sews patterns. Well, I finished one and I made another one. I haven't made Viki Sews patterns before, mostly because of that whole like single size band thing. You can only buy like a single size, albeit in lots of different heights. And compared to pattern companies where you can buy one pattern that has the whole size range in it, that kind of feels a bit odd, especially because I make for me and my kind of teenage kids who are kind of all bigger than me, really. So having, such a narrow limit on the size band that you're making seems a little wobbly, unless they've got one of their very good sales on, which is when I ended up buying this. So this is the Viki Sews, let me look, Jenna. I made this in a slightly creased currently. This goes out in my stash for about 3 years, I think, before it got made, mostly because I was frightened I was going to ruin it. You know that thing where you, despite the fact that you can sew, you think that you're not going to be able to sew when it comes to it. So I really like this pattern. It's been worn tons. It is an oversized kind of blouse shirt kind of pattern. It has a slightly dropped shoulder, but it does have a bust dart. It comes to kind of, I think I shortened it. I think it should come below hip length, and I shortened it to kind of just at my hip length, so I've got enough to tuck in and let waft about a bit. There's a camp style collar, so collar without collar stand, but the way they have you construct this is a little bit odd. I would probably do it my own way again next time, but I always like when I'm doing a new pattern company, I try and like to follow their instructions, and there were some really nice instructions in this. I think I probably found that very hard because there was photographs, and I've definitely talked about that in a Friday series, but there was a photograph and the material was the same colour as the background, and then when you blew up the image you couldn't really see it in any more detail, so I kind of struggled to understand what they were asking me to do. I should just really have done it the way that I do it, shouldn't I? But never mind. So that one was definitely a hit. It has a, I'm probably thinking about sewing labelling, which I think came from a Kylie in the Machine advent box a couple of years ago. But yes, that's had lots of wear already, and it's been worn quite a lot with these. Now these aren't in any particular order, these makes. I'm just kind of showing you as they are in the pile. These are the Terra pants from pattern Fantastique. Now this pattern was re-released, I think it's one of her really old pattern, and she'd kind of modified it significantly and re-released it. But they are essentially like a barrel-legged pair of pleated trousers. They have a really nice shape to them. I made them in a fabric that wasn't recommended. I made them in a wool suiting, I suppose, so you can see it's got quite a lot of drape and movement to it. So I don't think you quite get the barrel shape of the legs in the same way. But yeah, I've really loved wearing them. I'm looking forward to making these in something else, and I'm kind of currently having that debate about whether I make a pair of these or I make a pair of Arthur's. This is in an extended size range now. I haven't written down what that is. I probably, you know what I'm like, when I've made 2 or 3 of something, I feel like I can do you a pattern review, but until I've kind of got the gist of it, I never quite like to make remarks about a pattern. I really enjoyed making them. They came together beautifully. They fit really nicely. They're kind of fitted through the waist, and then that structural pleat happens so that then kind of bow out, but they're just, I don't know, they've got back pockets, they've got patch pockets on the back, and they've got slanty pockets on the inside, which I've just done with a coordinating viscose that's been about forever. I think this piece of material cost me about £3. I think it's very expensive superfine wool actually, but yeah, I've made a pair of trousers in it, but they literally have been worn so much, especially with that blouse before, and also with the blouse I made in November. I really enjoyed wearing those, and they can kind of take you anywhere trousers, which I think is always a good thing, and without being too wide, because when it gets to winter I don't really want long wide trousers because everything gets kind of wet. And next were the 3 I did for Sew Up Cycle 2023. Now I haven't done a reveal video for those. I did publish on Insta because that's what you were supposed to do, but I haven't done anything on here, so I will briefly talk about these. So the first was a Carlyle tee. So this is a Cashmerette club pattern and comes in Cashmerette standard club sizes. It has this kind of square neck with a band, and comes in various lengths. This had to be modified slightly because I was making it from a Monetta dress that I'd had in my closet for a very long time that needed to go, but wasn't really of high enough quality to go to anybody else. So I repurposed it into this. This is one of my colours. You'll probably be able to tell. I'm pleased with this. I think one of a viewer commented, and I can't remember, I'm really sorry, I've forgotten who it is, but the issue, I was kind of feeling that it wasn't quite right, and she said it's the proportions that are wrong, and she's quite right. When I tried to lift the neckline up kind of about 1.5 centimetres, it looks so much better. So the next one of these I make, which I think is going to be a green one from my November plans, needs to come up 1.5 centimetres. So yeah, there'll be some more of those, I think. Cashmerette Club t-shirts don't quite fit me, and I know they're kind of meant for curvy people, but I think they're also meant for people who don't quite have the shoulders that I have, because essentially I need to do a broad shoulder adjustment, a broad back adjustment, my forward shoulder adjustment, so it's kind of quite a lot of faff to make. And because of the way that this was constructed with that band, I didn't quite know how that was going to work, so I kind of made it the way it's supposed to be first of all. So hopefully the only way is up, so we'll have some better ones of those as we go. I will put in a picture, because I've definitely got a picture of me in this with the Terras with the next make, which is the Davis crossbody bag by Elbe Textiles. Now, it is no secret, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I love Elbe Textiles patterns. I think Lauren drafts beautifully. I really like the patterns, I really appreciate them, and this has been worn a ton. It is slightly dirty, I do apologise. This was made from a pair of a friend of mine's eldest son's trousers that were gifted to us to go with for my youngest son, and he promptly tore them beyond repair. I mean, you could have repaired them, but yeah, because of where it was thinned, I just didn't think it was sensible. So I repurposed that fabric to make this. I'm hopefully have shown you pictures. There are press-studs to hold it closed, and there is a dart. Now I have additional seaming because I was piecing the trousers into it, but it sits really nicely on the body. I was between sizes, and I think probably because I'm 52 and I'm menopausal, my waist measurement has increased significantly relative to the rest of my body. So I always think that one's kind of the outlier when I'm looking at my measurements. So my other measurements fitted in one band, but my waist was in another band, and in the end I went between them. Now, in the meantime, Lauren from Elbe Textiles had answered a message that I sent her, because she does. I mean, so many of these pattern designers are so wonderful, aren't they, at getting back to you. And she said I probably didn't need to size up, but by that point I'd already cut it out. So I did an in-between one, and I shall size down and do the lower size next time. I think it probably depends what you want to wear it over the top of. So if you want to put it over the top of your coat, then you probably need it to have a bit more space in it. So you could put just your phone, and my phone fits beautifully in here, and I wore it at the Knitting and Stitching show with my phone and my card in, and then I didn't need to take a bag. It was really helpful. You could use it as a dog walking bag, which I think is where it kind of came from, kind of chic dog walking. You keep all your treats and your poo bags in there, which is always good. Currently, our dog still occasionally needs a long lead, so I need to take my kind of crossbody clamshell type bag with me for him at the moment, and there's likely to be some more of those coming because I'm very bored with the one that I've got. So yes, this one is a super success, and I think if you make it in the same colour as the trousers, it kind of looks like they're a set, or that they're joined together. People thought when I got it on with the Terras, even though they're deep blue and this is a black, people thought that they were like a set and went together. So yeah, I might well do that. The next pair of trousers I make, I'm probably going to make one of these or a waistcoat to go with. So there you go, I love this. And my final one from my Cycle 23 is this, which is my Silver Saga Ella dress. Now, you will have seen some of these about, I'm sure. This is a lovely dress. It's a really, really nice dress. I made this in a cotton sateen, which is a sheeting reclaimed from the Cone Exchange, which is a textile recycling and craft recycling place local to me. And I made it in white with white cotton on the basis I was going to dye it. You'll have seen I dyed it on the top of the stove in a colour called Verde Oscura, which is a deep green colour, and I ended up with that kind of variegated colour. I really like this. It hasn't been worn. Now, I think it hasn't been worn because of these enormous sleeves, so this will not fit underneath my leather jacket, which is my main coat that I wear at this time of the year. I rarely wear something else. I do have a Jennifer Lauren Willer coat in purple, but these sleeves would get really scrunched. So it set me thinking about what to do about that. So, because I don't want to make some of my wardrobe that I'm not going to wear, so I need to kind of think about this. I could just wait, but it feels quite autumnal in its colour, and yeah, I want to wear it. So I've had some thoughts. So I'll tell you about this first of all. I will do a pattern review on this, but I'm going to make another one before I do it. I made the size 42 graded to a 44. I didn't take anything off the shoulder to waist depth, which I should have done really, and I probably need to do. If you look at the pictures, you can see on my video, you can see that it probably drops a little bit low, this line on me, compared to where it's supposed to be, but I don't think anybody apart from me would notice. I didn't make any other adjustments. I sewed it as was, and then I dyed it. The couple of issues that I had with it were mostly to do with some of the construction felt kind of complicated. So they have you do a gathering stitch around these patterns, these pieces, but then you kind of keep that gathering stitch in while you stitch other parts of it, and it's quite tricky to do, putting bits and pieces on while there's a gathering stitch in. So this cotton sateen is quite dense, and I don't know, the pins didn't seem to want to stay in the place with the gathering, so you need to keep the gathering in while you construct the other part. So that all felt a little bit clumsy to me, but it's worth it. I think it's it. You can see that it has had some additional embellishment. I have got a loved, I'll bring that in close, that was some machine embroidery on the right arm and also on the skirt, and I may do some more bits and pieces as I'm going. I kind of just experimenting with making things feel a bit more like they belong to me. So the issue with what needs to go over the top. So patently you either need a coat with enormous sleeves, which I'm not sure is something that I would wear. I know there's quite a lot that have like a big sleeve and then a cuff. Ruan did a recent kind of interesting coats, or coats that are different or something, and she had one like that in there, but I'm not sure that that's my jam. So what I have in my head is I want to make a topper. The first one is like this, so like a double-breasted, probably, or well, maybe single-breasted, but one with the big you know what I mean, like an inverted V collar, like the blouse, so like that. But without the sleeves, so leaving the sleeves off. So there was a Fibre mood one whose name I've forgotten. No, it's gone, I'm sorry. I'll put a picture. But there's a Fibre and it's in a check, and it's like one of the really old ones actually. But I thought I could do that. I could like get some coating fabric and just make one, but without the sleeves on, and then bind the sleeves, and I think that would work. And the other thought I had was that I want to make, I think I said in my November plans, I want to make a kind of boiled wool topper, so almost like a vest top, but with a round neck that's just going to go over the top of some of my dresses, because as you know I swim outside, so I don't actually get that cold, so I don't need like masses and masses of layers. So I think either a cardigan without sleeves or a coat without sleeves, or that topper would probably be okay. So that was the other one, was a cardigan without sleeves. Now there was a Fibre mood Luz, I think Luz, Luz, it should probably be said, that I nearly made a few years ago, but I just kind of felt it looked a bit dressing gowny. And there was the Friday Pattern Company Cambria, I think it is, and I've made one of those before, and I have some silver coloured thick velvet, which was thinking about making a sleeveless one of those to go over the top of this. So watch this space. And the next one was a request. I'll put in a picture of what the request was. So my middle-sized child wanted a Harleyquinn costume, and she had a very clear idea about what she wanted it to be like and asked me if I would make it. So I did my very best. I self-drafted the top, which is like a bustier that we've done with, not rivets, what are they called? Anyway, you know what I mean, the little circle things. So I've inserted some of those, like a grommet thing. That's not its proper name though. Never mind. Anyway, you know what I mean. And a skirt, which I did a modified ginger skirt by Colette pattern. So that's a really old pattern that I've had for ages and ages, and it's just an A-line skirt, but actually there's one version that has a half and half that you're supposed to do bias and do it with a striped fabric, so I kind of used that pattern piece to help me along the way. I made this in like a leatherette, and so that was the main modification I had, was just to think about the construction. So this is the skirt, which you can see is red and black and red, and there's a facing on it. You should be able to see that. There's a facing, and then it's lined with a kind of polyester lining because she wanted to wear tights and boots with it. We had some interesting debate about the length of this, and this is the length that we ended up at. And she's about heights with me, so it was longer, and she, like I say, she wore a bit thick tights, so that's not the end of the world. And the other one is the top. So the top was made, see if I can hold this up the right way, put it on the mannequin the right way up so you can see. But essentially that's a lined piece, and that's a lined piece. Then I've turned it over, top stitched it down and put these in. I did a little video. I tried to make it short, but I couldn't make it short enough. And then it's got elastic in the back, so that kind of helped with the fit. And then that was worn over a black t-shirt. So next is another one that's been getting quite a lot of wear. This is the Fibre Betsy skirt. See if I can get it the right way around. Made in this lovely wool chalet, kind of, no heavier than a chalet. Anyway, it's wool. It came from Rosenberg's Knitting and Stitching maybe 2 years ago, I think, and I finally got it sewn up. I've lined it in this kind of blue taffeta. I think it's a polyester taffeta. But just because it matched the little dots on the front, and you can see this has got, I can get it up high enough, hopefully I'll put a picture in anyway, but you see, because it's got a high-low hem, you see this kind of peeking through, so I wanted that to be a nice colour. So the pattern isn't lined, I've just made an extra layer and lined it. I don't think I anchored it. I was going to anchor it and I don't think I did in the end. No, so it's just sitting free, and then it's just about kind of a centimetre shorter all the way around. But because it's kind of in colour, it works okay. This doesn't have, there's not a lot of gathering, there's a bit of gathering. I made the elastic thicker on this version than I did on my summer version, and I'm pleased that I did. It doesn't have any pockets because it's so kind of slim over the hips. So I didn't think having pockets on was a good idea, but I've got a little bit of fabric left, and I'm thinking I might, if I've got enough, I might make one of those Elbe Textiles crossbody bag things, but we'll see. We'll see. Yes, so I like this Fibre Betsy, and it's from a really old Fibre. I'm sure I said on my November plans, which I'll link to up here, which magazine it came from, but yes, I tend to find with Fibre either I make nothing or I make like tons from a magazine. So yeah, I've got a few that I still have got on a list of plans, but I haven't quite got to. So we'll see how we get on with the rest. And to go with this is inside out. Bear with me a second. So this is the Walter wrap top by Sewing Machina and I got it from Makerist on one of their $2 sale days. Mostly because Ali Olsen bought out a pattern called, I don't know. Anyway, it was very similar, and she wanted $16 for it. And I knew I'd seen this, and I was like, no, I'm not going to pay $16. So this is the one you'll remember on a Friday Sews when I had a debate about whether I was supposed to have the wrap over or under the bust. The jury's kind of still out on where it's supposed to be, but I think, it can wear both ways. This is made from like a rib knit, which is nice and stretchy. It's in a lovely kind of blue marley colour, kind of tealy almost, which is why I made it to go with the last make with the Fibre Betsy. This has been worn quite a lot. I think I shortened it, and it's still really long. I think it could probably have done with being another 3 or 4 inches shorter for me, or to be made into a bodysuit. I have a ready-to-wear Marks and Spencer's bodysuit, which is in like a thermal material, and that works really well. So yeah, if I make another, I think I might well make it into a bodysuit, because I do like a bodysuit at this time of year. Yes, so that was another goodie. Continuing in no no real order of any description, mostly because there's a couple upstairs that I've got to go and get. So this is my Isca shirt. So this is a Marilla Walker pattern. You can see it has this really nice yoke detail, which is really fun to play with stripes on. It has a 3/4 sleeve. It has a French dart. Is that what you call that at the back? You know, it's got like a top bit and a bottom bit to the dart. And yeah, a 3/4 sleeve with a little cuff that you can turn up like so. I really like this. It has little yokes on the back that come forward, and then there's like a reinforcing piece underneath, which I haven't seen on anything else. And there are these darts at the back. I ended up with my neckline stretching out, which is why I've got a little box pleat added into the back. But shh, don't tell anyone. So I really like this. It's a little bit long for me from here to here, and I need to take out probably 1.5 centimetres there to make that kind of sit right. I had a bit of a pain with bits stretching out, but it's because you're kind of doing all that bias cutting to get the stripe play. So that was harder work than it needed to be, as a lot of things seem to be for me at the moment. Maybe it's not them, maybe it's me. But yeah, really pleased with that one. Looks really nice with my trousers, and yeah, really enjoying making that. This fabric came from Abercans in Hanley, maybe 3 years ago, I think, 3 years ago, and was always going to be this. So I'm really pleased that I finally got it made up, and it looks as good, nearly as good in real life as it did in my head before I made it. So I think we're about halfway through November. Get a cup of tea if you haven't got one. I've got a couple more to go. Now, Vlogmas. Everybody is going to be doing Vlogmas, and I've kind of made a decision that what I might do is to do a roundup. Maybe I'll do 2 or 3 videos through the course of December and record Christmassy things that I do. Obviously, because I'm not at work at the minute, there's quite a lot of things that I would normally be doing that aren't happening, but there will be, hopefully be a tree being got and decorated. I love a real Christmas tree. And we normally have one that I keep in the garden and then bring back in, but it died last year in the heat of summer. So yeah, we might be getting a real Christmas tree. So if we go to choose one, I'll take you with us. And then I'll kind of label that one like a Vlogmas roundup or something, so it's really clear that that's what that is. And if you want to scoot past it, then that's fine, obviously. The next is this, which is my So Liberated Hinterland dress. I should try not to bash my mic. Made in a denim. This is my final, my original version. It's in the middle of being embroidered slightly in a Deb type styling, with some hand embroidery because I took it away to the lakes with me last weekend. It's just, yeah, it's fine. I just think it's not very me, and so I kind of was thinking about doing some painting on it. I might do something else to it, but the whole purpose of this is the starting point for the hacking process from that, which is all about me trying to learn about pattern hacking and drafting and all of that good stuff. There is a belt at the side, pulling that in, but I've done all of my adjustments on this. So it has a forward shoulder, it has a shortening at the back and going into the dart at the side. Lots of kind of clever manipulation of pattern that they've been teaching me how to do. So I'm quite pleased. I'm not sure it fits quite perfectly yet, but you're allowed to, with that group, you can, this is the Creative Hinterland course, you can post in the group and then you get feedback, so that's really helpful. So I shall put a twirl and I shall report back about how much that's worn, but like I say, I'm just kind of adding some hand embellishment to it. Which is a Wave Rider swimsuit by Ellie and Mac. Now, I don't very often make Ellie and Mac patterns, I think. Although they're good value for money, oftentimes there's a lot of kind of trogging through pages and pages of instructions to get to where you need to be, and sometimes things aren't quite done the way that I would do them. So this is a raglan long sleeve in this gorgeous rib knit that came from, which is an activewear swimwear fabric that came from the New Craft House. I think it was about £16 a metre. It's lined with swimwear lining, which I had already in my stash, and I've used a zip which I took out of something, took out of a jacket, I think, from ages and ages ago that had been sitting there waiting. So the only thing I didn't think about was obviously my zip insertion needed to be pristine because of the white against the blue, and it's not. Mostly, not my fault, I hasten to add, because where this little bralette type thing, what do you call that? You know what I mean? There's like an extra piece, and then I've put elastic in underneath. So where that comes in, you end up having to top stitch your zip over the top of that, which, yeah, you make this in one with a band across, and then you cut it in half to put the zip in, which is a slightly odd way to do it. I think it would have been much better to make it in two halves and then stitch that to the zip on the inside as you were creating it. I'm going to have a think about the other way to do it, because, I mean, obviously you could use a zip that's the same colour as your fabric and then it wouldn't matter quite so much. This has been worn, it did its job, it's warmer than not wearing sleeves on a swimsuit. I think the water was somewhere between 7.5 and 9. People got different measurements over the course of the weekend. But no, I think it worked really well. I think probably the thing that makes the most difference actually is having some coverage at the kind of top of your back and into your neck, which definitely makes things feel a little bit warmer. So I'm really pleased with how that turned out. It was how it was in my head, and I was glad I got it done in time to take it to the lakes. So whether I'll make another one or not probably depends whether I can work out a way to do that little under bra thing in a different way, because I just don't think that's a very satisfactory way to do it. You can also use this to make like a rash guard and things. I mean, obviously completely out of season for normal people who don't swim in the middle of winter in outside. But yeah, I don't think it was very much. I think it was about £5, the pattern. So for all I'll get out of it, it's probably fine. And I definitely will make a rash guard from it, as well as probably another cossie. November makes. There's been some really good successes there. There's some things that need a little bit of a tweak to make them feel like me. I am still vaguely wandering through curated closet, but mostly kind of just working out, when I put something on, what makes it feel more like me or less like me. And there's some things that I kind of put them on and they look, you know, they fit, they're made of good fabric, and yet it doesn't quite ping for me. And oftentimes they need something that makes them feel more me, which might be, you know, embroidery that other people would turn their nose up at. I mean, not everybody wants to walk around with love written on their arm, do they? But at the moment, maybe that's what I need. Maybe that's why I'm feeling the need to put them on. I can always take it off if I want to take it off. Yeah, so that's my journey I'm going on. It will continue. I have got some significant gift sewing to occur. I always have requests for furry things and pyjamas, and I've got a couple of bag patterns, and I did do a little bit of buying when things were very reduced over the course of the last week or so. So I have a few new patterns, nearly all of which were on my patterns to purchase list. So I keep a list, I'm sure you lot do this as well, a list on my phone and a keep note of patterns that I'm interested in buying, so that when they come up at 35% off, I can go, I wanted that one. So that's like the So Liberated Nest sweatshirt, which is it's got like almost like a V neck and an inset sleeve, and then you can put like patchwork on the front. I know I'm not sure that patchwork is quite my thing, but I thought I might put something like a picture or my brain is still fizzing on that. So it's been on a list of things that I wanted to make for ages and ages. So I thought, well, I may as well get it while it's 35% off. So I think it ended up being $11 or something. Which is under £10, which for one of So Liberated patterns is absolutely, you know, I definitely pay that. So yes, really pleased with that one. And the Spencer Og clamshell bag, which, yeah, that's been on my list for quite a long time as well. So there you go. So let me know, what have you been sewing? What's your best make over the course of the kind of autumn into winter so far? What's the thing you're most excited about sewing next? Which one of my makes do you like, or which one do you not like? Yeah, let me know down below. Thank you to everybody who's liked and subscribed, and there's been like quite a lot of views on some of the videos, so yeah, that's really hope you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out. You know, it's a lot of work to make videos and edit them, and you know, I just hope that people are feeling inspired. There was a lady who came up to me at the Knitting and Stitching show, whose name I've forgotten. It might have been Marie. I'm really sorry. But what she said was that I'd encouraged her to sew and she wasn't quite sure. Just by saying it is only fabric, crack on, she'd felt able to make some things. And if one person makes something because they've seen how much I enjoy making and the things that you can make with practice and time and reading instructions carefully and, and not being too afraid of the fabric, then it's worth it, isn't it, really? So I hope you're all right. I hope you're finding time to rest and replenish and do some making if that's something that brings you joy. And I shall say bye-bye for now, and God bless. I'll see you again soon. Terra.